Hello and welcome. I'd like to start this morning by saying Baraka the Senate to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Despite the challenges, you kept the faith and you observed 1 month Ramadan, and now it is time to celebrate. Of course, it's going to be a celebration like never before, and like we heard yesterday from Ustaz Adeyabi Abdul Fatai, he said that once you are more than one at home, it's already a congregation and you can pray and it will be okay. And the Sultan of Sokoto has also told us that, told the Muslim faithful to stay home and celebrate. And leading by example is our president, who is staying at home to observe the celebration. He has even by all Salah homage. So stay at home and be safe and celebrate. Our emphasis on the show more is about palliative. I read somewhere, just checking, I read somewhere, generally speaking, palliative is an action taken to make the effects of a serious problem less severe, but it does not make the problem go away. That is generally speaking. But in the situation we find ourselves in the fight against COVID-19, and as against all the measures put in place, what is palliative? Everybody is asking for palliative, but our backgrounder will educate us all together. Let's learn.
With the increasing spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria, the federal and state governments impose varying degrees of restrictions on movement of persons, including public gatherings and markets within their states. The effects of the various restrictions on business and the people prompted the federal government of Nigeria to introduce fiscal and economic stimulatory measures to ameliorate the impact on the people and save the economy from collapse. From the various palliatives given by the government thus far, how far so far?
The word palliative trended so much in Nigeria when COVID-19 hit base. To a large extent, it will be an occasion, as this, to say thank you to every individual that saw the need to reach out to the need of another. We can also not leave government out of it, because government, I want to believe, in the best of its measure, also tried to see that it ameliorates the pains of its citizenry. Was it the best of occasions? No. Did anybody see this coming? No. Can we say anybody was adequately prepared for this? I don't think the answer is yes. So to a large extent, I think beyond complaints, let's try to see if there was good in what an individual did, in what a corporate organization did, or even in what government did. Let's try and see how we can aggrandize, let's try and see how we can strengthen upon same.
Government cannot do it alone, so there is need for philanthropists and well-meaning organizations to provide more palliatives to curb the spread of the coronavirus. But the question begging for answer this morning is, who truly needs palliatives?
For me, this is the crux of the matter. Everybody needs palliatives. As unique as our fingerprints are, as different as our faces are, so are our needs. You see, for somebody, the word palliative will come home when you give him food. For somebody who is ill and probably has an underlying health issue who cannot access healthcare, palliatives for him in that instance is healthcare. For somebody who was locked down in a different state, who was not prepared to probably go back to his base, maybe his wife is somewhere else, his children are somewhere else, he longs to be with his family, does he have any form of emotional support? For him, that's a palliative measure. What am I trying to say in essence? Palliatives is not all about food.
As Muslims mark Salah celebration amidst the coronavirus pandemic, what a time to show love and care by sharing palliatives.
Every individual that has the capacity, that has the way or the means to help the poor, I mean, outside even the religious obligation, should do same. We live in a country where a majority of us are very poor. And hence, for those who have the wherewithal, Salah is here. Please, people should not get weary of well-being. People should not get weary of well-doing.
Despite the sweeping measures introduced by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria to cushion the COVID-19 impact on the people, the distribution of palliatives still remains a challenge.
In Nigeria, sadly, those who truly need that don't have BVN numbers because they don't have bank accounts. And sadly, they are in the majority. Now, was the distribution within the best of instances? No. We live in a country where we always want to self-aggrandize, because normally, who do you distribute to? You may go to religious leaders, you may go to community leaders, you may go to youth leaders, you may go to organizational leaders. These palliatives, in some instances, even fell into the wrong hands. I felt very bad as a Nigerian when I saw Nigerians playing football with bread that was given to them. Now, the issue is this. If you are of the opinion that you didn't need the bread, maybe because the bread was bad or it was substandard or what have you, don't take it. You didn't have to take it and then you go play football with it. That was very, very bad manners.
The palliatives are really needed at such a time as this, so all hands must be on deck towards finding a lasting solution to the challenge of distributing palliatives.
If you give credence to justice, if you give credence to fairness, if there is equity in the whole distribution process, in the distribution chain, there will be no problem. Salah is here. I want to appeal to all Nigerians of ways and means to come out and be of help to the majority of Nigerians who are in their need of food, who are in their need of medical supplies, who are in their need of clothing, those who are in their need of shelter, those who are in their need of jobs.
Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, so submit yourself for testing if need be. Take responsibility, stay at home and be your brother's keeper. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on COVID-19 and matters arising.
Matters arising and palliative is at the top of that matter. The truth is, government alone cannot provide palliatives for everyone, and so we keep calling on good-spirited individuals to join the team, I call it the beautiful team of reaching out to the less privileged. We will be going to Lagos now. I mean, the COVID-19, like we said, a lot of matters are rising, and there's a lot of new ways of doing business, and new businesses are being birthed. Lagos Network Center will tell us more about this.
With the emergence of the deadly coronavirus spreading in several countries in the world, it is no longer business as usual, as the virus has beaten hard on various businesses such as the aviation industry, hospitality, cinema and entertainment, oil and gas, trade and manufacturing, small and medium-scale enterprises. In fact, it has disrupted every facet of human life. In a bid to control the spread of this global pandemic, lockdowns and travel restrictions across countries, globally and within Nigeria, were effected, therefore affecting the running of businesses and economies.
COVID-19 is here and it's almost becoming part of way of life, from all of us being in lockdown to almost accepting the reality that this COVID-19 is now going to be part of us. And that invariably means that we need to do a lot of things in a different ways from the way we used to do it. Businesses now have to be run in an approach which is different from the way we used to run business.
Despite suffering huge losses, the Nigerian economy and business leaders have shown that there are other ways of running a business, thereby creating a vacuum that has led to the birth and spring of new businesses.
The business that I know that are thriving now is the telecommunication sector, because take it or leave it, people require their services. People must communicate, you understand? and also the internet service providers. For now, that's what I know that are thriving.
If we can adhere to the NCDC directives by maintaining the social distancing, we can be able to boost back the economy again.
Services, if you are into service business, another form of opportunity has evolved, leveraging technology to do customer support. Today, we all have to leverage technology to support our clients. We do not want to go to client offices again. As me, as an accountant, for example, I don't want to come to your office. Whereas there are tools that can enhance or allow me to be able to serve you from the comfort of my house, even from the comfort of my offices, just to minimize that level of interaction.
However, despite the emergence of new business opportunities, some other existing businesses are counting their losses.
The lockdown that has been relaxed, the banking sectors, not all branches are open, and this is really affecting people. And then the social distancing is not being maintained enough, because you can see that one branch will have about 300 to 400 people to attend to in a day. So I don't know if they have enough data, enough time, enough staffs, enough hands that can attend to these people and make sure they meet their needs.
If we have 90% of employees infected with COVID-19, continuity of that business is at risk. And that's one of the reasons why we tell people that at this point, you do not need all your employees to come to office.
Gradual ease of lockdown guidelines, waivers, and palliative loans are several measures put in place by the federal government to cushion the effect of COVID-19 on the economy. As all hands must be on deck on the fight against the deadly virus, it is pertinent to obey all set guidelines by the federal government in reopening of the economy in order to contain the spread of COVID-19. Stay safe and take responsibility.
Yes, we need to continue to stay safe and take responsibility as we do our businesses. And like we like to emphasize here, you have to be alive to do whatever business it is you're doing. From Lagos, we'll be going straight to Port Harcourt to see the situation report from that end.
This is what the city of Port Harcourt looks like now as a result of the ease-off on the lockdown imposed on Obiakpo and Port Harcourt Area Council of the state. This is coming as a way of cushioning the effects of hardship and challenges experienced by citizens in the face of the pandemic.
The State Security Council had decided to suspend the total lockdown on Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas for 6 days. It is important to emphasize that the relaxation only allows for free human and vehicular movements and the opening of limited businesses such as banks, supermarkets, shopping malls, and grocery shops. This does not allow for general open markets. All exits and entry borders and routes into River State shall remain closed.
A few days back, major roads and streets in Port Harcourt were devoid of human and vehicular movements, except for essential workers who were seen carrying out their official duties. Also, the regular business activities like shopping malls, household stores, eateries, banks, and so on were all under lock and key, except for some essential operators like pharmaceuticals, gas, fuel station, and other related essential services. All these measures by the state government has been in a bid to contain the spread of the virus, even though some citizens decry these measures.
But I don't feel anything bad because we have to obey the government directives. I'm very happy that I have come out today, only that we don't have money to face the challenges that we are having.
And in this 6 days window, I think people are happy. More especially, we are seeing that the government now is putting a very human face to what they are doing. because before now, you see how people are lamenting. But as at yesterday, people are commending the government.
So many hardship, things are not moving well, things are not normal. It has not been easy. No customers, nothing. We just open shop and we go like that.
I'm not happy. Let the governor do something for poor masses, all the poor people, so that they can get food items. Sell pure water, sell anything. People that are selling on the road can sell and buy things to eat.
Wearing of face masks is one measure Port Harcourt residents have come to terms with as a way of protecting themselves from the virus and in compliance to the directives by the state government.
As you can see, I'm wearing my face mask, I wash my hands.
The government says something that will favor us, but many people don't know the reason. Because it's sickness that you will contact, many will survive, many will not survive, depend your age. Even in my office, if you enter, we ask you to wash your hand and cover your face mask.
However, some say wearing of face masks can be discomforting.
It's actually inconveniencing, but we just have to do it for our sake and for that of our loved ones.
We can't breathe well, but we'll manage it to prevent the bacteria.
As the number of coronavirus cases continues to rise in the country, Rivers indigenes are faced with the reality on ground, and they are optimistic that with adequate synergy and prayer to God, we can flatten the curve of coronavirus pandemic.
I say amen to that. We pray that indeed we flatten the curve of this very dreadful pandemic. I mean, another thing that is synonymous to COVID-19 is palliatives. I mean, it's becoming like, I don't know, it's something everybody says. Like we say in our own Nigerian palate. Somebody can just see you and say, I beg, do me palliative now. And you're wondering if it's another happy Christmas or something. So everybody, even people that should be giving you, will ask you, how far now, any palliative from your side? So this report has been put together by Suleiman. But I would like to tell you before we go there that we have a very special guest in the house. He is watching with us, and we'll have a very, very interesting conversation with him. I won't tell you who he is. Let's see this very beautiful report by my brother Suleiman Babajia, and then we'll come back and talk. And he says, who truly needs palliatives?
The conversation about the origin of COVID-19 is fading, at least in this part of the world. And while some people are still skeptical about the severity of the virus, governments around the world have made it a point of duty to protect all. Many countries, including Nigeria, activated lockdown measures and other non-pharmaceutical protocols to curb the spread of the virus in the country. Lockdown came with its attendant consequences: jobs lost, daily income stifled, leaving the door ajar for hunger. To avoid what some referred to as hunger epidemic, the federal government introduced different palliatives to tackle the impact of coronavirus on households.
A lot of people are stranded, especially the poorest of the poorest that depends on daily income. They don't have savings. That's why palliatives is very important at this critical time.
Acknowledging that the government cannot feed all, individuals, corporate organizations and NGOs showed up with food items and other household needs to complement government efforts to reach out to the vulnerable in the society. However, some Nigerians have criticized the government structure for sharing, questioning the parameter used to define the poorest of the poor in the society, as the urban poor feel neglected.
They'll ask you, what do you mean by poor people? We are all poor. You say, okay, where are the people who live in a house that is very poorly, they can't maintain the house and the house is almost falling, for example? Where is the person who cannot send the child to school? And the children, when they go to school, either wear torn uniform or cannot even wear shoes, they do not have access to things like that. There are very many questions on little basic indicators which tell you who the poor people are. And that has been done in every state of the country, where we have harvested the names of these kinds of people, local government by local government, and we put them into what we call a social register.
The government has quickly designed a process to identify the poor, the urban poor, by developing the COVID-19 rapid response register, that we first and quickly utilize the databases of the telephone companies, the databases of the banks, the databases of Sweden for small-scale industries and businesses, the database of other existing programs that we have, but also the databases of civil society organizations who have been involved in one form of support to the poor and vulnerable or the other. Now, these databases are being collected by the office and under the ministry. They will be synthesized and then data capture will be allowed. We are also thinking through the walk-in centers or access for self-declaration of those who are affected or impacted by the pandemic, which would then go validate and register them accordingly into the social register for any intervention.
Part of the palliatives include payment of 2 months conditional cash transfer to beneficiaries, 3-month moratorium on loans to all trader money, market money, and farmer money beneficiaries. The same gesture is extended to all federal government-funded loans issued by the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and the Nigerian Export-Import Bank. But many doubt how the sustenance of the school feeding program will be carried out, given that schools are still closed. Nigeria ranks high in global poverty rate, and if right measures are not taken to ensure full realization of the value of this significant investment, many more will be relegated to a life below poverty line.
Let's go back to drawing board and see what are the issues before COVID-19, post COVID-19. Okay, where are we going to? Till we sit down and analyze it this way, we'll just be throwing money at the issues, and that's what we have always done in this country. We throw money at the issues, we don't get any results.
With recession looming and government gradually reopening the struggling economy, some say it is time to de-emphasize palliatives.
I do not mind palliative at all, but it's not sustainable. So if you have money budgeted for palliative, look for a way that it will get to people. It's planting season now. And what is going to rescue us from the calamity that will follow post-COVID is if we can go back to our farms and produce enough. It's farming season. So if there's a way you can support, encourage farmers, do that with that money.
There's also the reality of Nigeria's capacity to even sustain the palliative. But I believe that we need and will have to keep some of that palliative. Take, for example, people in the IDP camps. How are we going to walk away from them after this?
While some Nigerians depend on palliatives for survival in this trying time, some are making the most of it through skills acquired from government training programs.
We have something doing and still we have an income as a result of what we are doing. So you see the idleness we have at home is now being taken care of.
Ministry of Labour announcing the creation of 1,000 jobs per local government in the country, 704 LGs in the country. These are all geared towards providing safety nets for Nigerians to be able to bounce back on their feet.
These are indeed delicate times, and every decision is key. The objective is to contain the virus and keep the focus on national development strategies that will support all Nigerians as equally as possible.
Well, palliative safety net, and like the member of the House said, we don't throw money at the problem. The money should be channeled to a particular thing, like the farmers who need to buy seeds to plant, and to people who turn the money around and help to boost the economy. That was a very good one there by Suleiman Babajia. I forgot to tell you, our background, the first one on palliative was put together by Francis Ogbe, my brother. That was a very good one. And of course, we're going to the next report is by it's all my family members. The next one is Elizabeth Agbai, yes, and it's asking a question: is palliative a cliche, or is it being abused? Our numbers are scrolling on the screen. Write to us like you would do. Send us text messages through WhatsApp or normal text messages. But let's see what Elizabeth has for us.
For every season within a given society,
There are often accompanying arts and slogans. The COVID-19 is not left out on this. Beyond the arts of social distancing and mask wearing, more than just a couple of words and arts have trended and are still trending. They include lockdown, stay safe, SD meaning social distancing, asymptomatic, underlining ailment, palliative, and more. Not bad. Of all these words, palliative seemed to be the most abused. The word, which means a way of relieving pain without necessarily curing the cause of a pain, has become another way of begging for most people. It is perhaps the most used words during this COVID-19 pandemic. Pretty not a new word. It made its debut as a trend at the onset of the initial lockdown after Mr. President's speech.
For residents of satellite and commuter towns and communities around Lagos and Abuja, whose livelihoods will surely be affected by some of these restrictive measures, we shall deploy relief materials to ease their pains in the coming weeks.
Today, the word has been adopted, redesigned, and redeployed by people who beg for one thing or the other. Amazingly, the request for palliative is not just for the government only. Ordinary individuals constantly get harassed by families and friends via calls and text messages requesting for money, better known now as palliative. Do they all really need it?
I think not everyone needs palliative. Palliative in terms of food, small, something to eat, and the next day the person is on the street begging for money or begging for another food. To me, it's not a palliative. I believe that there could be more that the people could engage in, and that will solve a lot of problems. If you ask me personally, I think that the palliative should have actually gone to those who are real employers of labor with minimum income or minimum capital to run their business. The hairdressers, the small shop owners, let me not mention them because there are too many. Now find a way to support them restart their business, because most of these people have consumed their capital while they were in the lockdown. So if there's a way to re-engineer their business, these are the major drivers of this economy. These people employ 4, 5, 3, 2, 6, and these 6 people have dependents on them.
It will amaze you even more that this request goes to unknown people and organizations. For instance, our weekend deal line, open for audience contributions during the program, is daily filled with requests for monetary help, fully accompanied most often with the sender's account details. Take a look. Such audacity. Unfortunately, sending such to public lines will not in any form ameliorate or solve your problem. The need for all of us to lean on our dignity and respect it cannot be overemphasized. As Laura Hilbrand puts it, without dignity, identity is erased. In its absence, men are defined not by themselves, but by their captors and the circumstances in which they are forced to live in. Define yourself by yourself. Resist begging or palliative.
Yes, palliatives. That's a beautiful one there by my sister Elizabeth Agbai. And I want to say something, Elizabeth, if you're watching. Palliatives have been redefined and re-Nigerialized. It's different here now. This client's palliative has taken another measure. Yes, moving on quickly, we have a very special guest. I told you about him. He's in the house now. And join me to welcome the Director General of the National Directorate of Employment, Dr. Nasir Laden Mohammed Argungu. Sir, you're welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you for having me.
Back at the cellar, and congratulations on successfully fasting and celebrating now.
Thank you very much.
So what are you going to be doing today? You're not going out, so what is the cellar going to be like?
Well, first of all, I wish to I wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters happy Eid al-Fitr. I also wish them happy many years of celebration, but of course without coronavirus.
Yes,
as you are very much aware, there is still lockdown restriction and whatever it is. So immediately I finish what I'm doing, I'm going back home to stay with my family.
Wow, okay, nice. Then I'm going to also start still on a lighter note. When I was doing my work, I discovered that you are a cardiologist by training. So, sir, why do you leave our hearts to go deal with employment?
Well, you see, it's a very big issue, and as far as I'm concerned, you need to have something doing in order to be healthy.
Yes.
And don't be surprised, my supervising minister is also a lawyer, his son, Barrister Festus Kiano. So combination of the two of us, a medical doctor and a son, we are doing a good job as far as MD is concerned.
I agree. That's a very good one. And sir, one of the effects of coronavirus world over, it's the loss of jobs. I mean, it's globally, it's a loss of jobs. What is your ministry doing as far as the Nigerian issue is concerned?
We know even before the coming of COVID-19, the unemployment rate to me is a little bit on the high side, because according to the statistician of the Federation, as at then, it was about 21 million. And now with the advance of corona, a lot of people have also lost their jobs. Taking that in mind, we in the NDE, the mandate given to us by government is to create jobs, provide employment through entrepreneurial skills development. And we have been telling a lot of young men and women that the white-collar job is not there. You make more money by using your hands and your brain. And some of them listen to our calls and they come to us. As I said before, there is no agency in Nigeria that has widespread like the NDE. Don't forget, NDE has been in existence for the past 34 years. Apart from our corporate head office in Abuja, we have 6 zonal offices. Okay. We have 37 state offices, including FCT. Out of the 774 local government, we have 691 desk officers. Oh. We have 175 vocational skill training centers. We have 75 agri-training centers. We have 2 giant agri-parks with dormitory facilities, one in Savua, Kasana, one in Okada, Ondo State. And some of us that are old enough, they know about the so-called school on wheels. As I'm talking to you, we have about 26 of them on the road. Then we have common facility centers, about 15 of them. Okay. We build, we give out to communities so that they can manage them. We provide all the necessary incentives so that the centers can work effectively. Okay. So if you look at us, we are virtually everywhere. Our workforce is more than 3,000. And the fact that when we came in, we decided to not to move anybody. You know, movement of people is always difficult. So what we do, we don't move anybody. We give you forms to fill, whatever you want us to train you on, within your locality, within your local government. We look for a master crafter, a local artisan who is very good in his work. Wow. We attach you to him. Yeah. We give you logbook, attendance register and ID card. The same thing with your trainer. The only condition is for you to attend your place of work at least 20 times in a month. And you get your stipends directly from GiveMe's account. which is a government account, because we collect your bank details, including BBN.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we're able to achieve a lot within shortest possible time. And recently, before the coming of Corona, we have a program called Mega BNOS, Mega Basic Open National Apprentice Scheme, where we choose 30 people per local government. I believe if we can have 5 people trained in carpentry, 5 in auto electrician, 5 in auto mechanic, 5 in GSM repairs, 5 in generator repairs, you know, within the local government, we have 30 of them that are good at that. We have achieved a lot. And the fact that we know women are almost the ones that are at the receiving end, we picked another 25.
No women?
Yes, only women in each local government. And we train them on cosmetology, how to make solid soap, liquid soap, and the rest of them.
But sir, is this happening all over the states?
All over the country.
All over the country. This is going on right now.
In Zamfara, I spoke with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Hajiya Sadia. She'll be there on Tuesday to launch the 2,000 women and young men in Zamfara. So it's all over the country. We did in Port Harcourt, it was kickstarted by Minister of Transport, Amechi. We did in Borno, it was kickstarted by the governor. As I'm talking to you now, in Kebbi, Sokoto, Katsina, Kano, Adamawa, Kaduna, and Borno, we use our trainees, because in each of these states we have more than 50 brand new sewing machines. We buy good Atampa materials, that is about 3,500. In each of these states, we produce 20,000 face masks in collaboration with our First Lady's Future Assured, which were given out free to people. And our trainer in Kaduna, we use her to produce 1,500 bottles of 500 mils of hand sanitizer, which we also give out to some of these states, including infrared thermometers. So we are trying as far as this issue is concerned.
Really impressive. Yeah. I know that one of the mandates of your organization is to obtain and maintain a data bank for vacancies, you know, and I'm thinking, is it only for government vacancies, or it's for you're working with the private sectors to know where the vacancies are?
Yeah, we were trying, but to be frank with you, sometimes some of them they are very difficult to work with, because the first time I came to NDE about 3 years or so, the first thing I did is to try to get the magnitude of the problem as far as unemployment is concerned. And I went to government agencies like Galaxy Backbone, like NCC, like NIMSI, and the rest of them. And I was able to get what I was looking for from NIMSI, and it was alarming. We came up with the idea because as at then we are very much aware, a lot of our people, young men and women, a lot of them died within the Sahara Desert or in the Mediterranean trying to get to Europe.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea of ND International. We create a robot website whereby all unemployed Nigerians can have themselves registered, either skilled, semi-skilled, or unskilled. And we intend to open that portal.
I want you to say that again. Okay, you've not opened the portal yet.
No, we have the portal.
It's there?
It's there.
So Nigerians, all unemployed Nigerians, can go onto the, what do you call it again, sir? ND International. The website is www.nd.org.com. Okay.
Yeah.
So people should go there and register. Okay, so basically people who should extend to their neighbors. So from everything you have told us, your organization is prepared for post-COVID-19.
Yeah.
You're prepared for post-COVID-19 because a lot of people are predicting unemployment. A lot of doom has been predicted that after COVID-19 there will be so much poverty, but your organization is ready for post-COVID-19, or you have things in place to cushion the effect of the massive unemployment.
Yeah, you see, my sister, one of the biggest projects to be carried out in this country is taking place in NDE. We did special public works that involves 8 states, 5 local government in each of the states, 1,000 per local government. It involves 40,000 people, young men and women. It is the dry season driven program given to us by Mr. President. The fact that he was impressed the way we carried it over, now he said we are to engage 1,000 young men and women in each of the 774 local governments of this country. So we are talking of 774,000 people at a go, apart from other members that we are going to use as supervisors, as coordinators. So we are targeting almost 1 million people at a go.
Wow.
And everything is put in place. By next week, we are going to have a press conference, myself and my minister, and all the various ministries involved.
Thank you so much. I have so many questions, but time will not permit us to take it on. But I must say that I am really impressed with what ND is doing, and I pray that you do more, and God will help you to even do more to reach more Nigerians. We've been speaking with the Director General of NDE, Dr. Nasiru Laden Muhammad Al-Gungu, and he has told us a lot about what the NDE is doing, and he also talked about palliative. So thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll still go on a break. Weekend Deal is still on, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. The show is still Weekend Deal, and I'll be talking palliatives. But don't forget, it is Salah, and we're celebrating. One other sector that is affected by the COVID-19 pandemic is the agricultural sector. What exactly is going on, and how has this affected the agricultural sector? To know more about this, we'll be going to NT Abiyakuta for this picture.
Matters arising in curtailing the effect of COVID-19 in Ogun State include total lockdown, partial lockdown, freedom of movement for essential service providers, food sellers, health workers, security operatives, journalists, farmers, and other people in agro-allied industries. However, interactions among these key workers leave much to be desired. Farmers share their experiences of the situation in Ogun State.
Some who come from town, they have challenges because when coming in the morning, the police, the trace, and the security men, they always try to disturb them when coming to farm in the morning.
Jẹ́ pé ìṣòro ẹ̀ pọ̀ ọlọ́mọdé ìnira ẹ̀ pọ̀ díẹ̀. Mo jẹ́ ká máa fẹsẹ̀ ní pé nígbà tá a kì bá rí mọ́tò nígbà tí ẹ bá gbà wá kẹ́pẹ́ ẹ gba àwọn àgbẹ̀ láti máa wá sóko láti bá rí wọn máa fi rìnnà bí ọkọ̀ bí ọ̀kadà àfi ká fi ẹsẹ̀ wa rìn láti lè tún padà sí ibi ibùdó wa láti wá. Tá bá wá ńjọ́ kan ó tún dijọ́ kẹta ọ̀hún fún wa láì pé àwa ètò bá jàgbẹ̀ ó yẹ kán lè fún wa láì pé ká máa lọ sóko wa déédéé àdẹ̀gbà pé ká bá dẹ̀ lọ sóko déédéé ká máa bomú wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe fún wa lófin pé ká máa bomú àdẹ̀faramọ́ pé òfin tán fún wa ó wọlé dáadáa.
Considering the situation and circumstances, is food security certain in Ogun State?
We're taking advantage of the focus on agriculture, and people are also responding. For example, the cassava program that we launched during this pandemic is going to take about 27,000 farmers. So that is bumper harvest.
What are the efforts of the state government at preventing food scarcity or shortage at the end of the planting season?
We are supporting existing farmers with input. We are also supporting upcoming farmers with input. The result of this is that the post-COVID situation will also be filled with harvest.
Will there be bountiful harvests of farm produce this year in Ogun State? Only time will tell.
I say a very big amen to that prayer, that at the end of it all the small businesses will prosper and in turn make our land prosperous. We have another guest in the house. He's a sustainable development consultant, and he's Dr. Joaquin Ejizi. We've been talking, and welcome to our studio, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, he told me that his name means King of Yam, and I was interested. I said, wow, tell us a little about that.
Yeah, that is it. In Igbo land, if you're a big farmer and you farm yam, because yam is the chief crop. Among all the crops you cultivate in Igbo land, you see that yam is the one that is celebrated most. So we have, when you are a chief producer of yam, you are given the title Ezeji, which means King of Yam.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, welcome to our studios. We've been talking a lot. You've been watching our program. We're talking a lot about palliatives. I want to start from there. Who do you think, in your own experience, need this palliative? Who needs this palliative?
I don't even believe in the so-called palliative. I belong to a group where people were talking about. I designed a support mechanism for people at this time. I called it hardship fund.
Okay. So let us shift it. Let's shift to the businessman themselves.
Yeah.
You are a sustainable development consultant. How should the average businessman be thinking in the face of what we are going through? Let's say you're a business owner. Just walk us through. What should you be thinking, given all the challenges that there are?
You know, I did a PhD on how to build resilient organizations.
Okay.
And I very much understand that there will always, in life, there will always be periods of wait and dry. So when you are in the wait period, when a lot of things are going good for you, you should also plan. So in effect, my studies exposed me to risk management. So I'm a risk management expert as well. So we talk about resilient enterprises. So the businessman should actually plan for the so-called rainy day, you know, when things will. So the private sector people, now that these difficulties are going on, people who are already advanced, quite advanced in what they are doing, might have conditions to cushion the difficulties. But some of them who are just like people, you have the traders, people who provide services at that very micro level, they may not have these things that can help them to cushion, because they rely on more like what people come in to buy or request from them on day-to-day basis. Yeah, and when you have movement stopped and they don't have that marketplace environment to really interact with people physically, they become endangered. Business become endangered.
But sir, you know we are dealing with a virus that nobody can see. It's a common enemy, and the first reaction of the government was to say, we know that the virus moves when people move. Let's all stop and see where this enemy is coming from, contain it, and then we can go. So I think the government reaction at stopping is necessary. But let me also ask again, a lot of people are going online, a lot of businesses are resurfacing online. What is your take on this?
Yeah, that is the way to go, because there's there was a time I think KTA was talking about digital switch, or I think some other agencies of government, the minister was talking about digital switch over. You know, I think it was a national project. I don't know if it was directly for NTA or whatever, but it is happening in that SME hub. What we need is to government to embrace it. When we say digital economy is an economy that have alternatives platforms to operate. You know, when you have people, you have the physical aspects of business, you now have the digital aspect of business, like the POS you find in many places. People, if you go, that is coming in, but I think it's more like at a very low level too. Most businesses, when you go to buy things, even people that sell fish in the market, and they don't have the POS, you say, okay, can you make a transfer? You make a transfer. You see, Nigerians are very receptive to these emerging technologies. You know, but some people will also complain that if you transfer, to get it from the bank, I don't have ATM card, I don't have a card, I don't have this. So it becomes a problem for them. Yes, it's a virus. People are doing the little within that. We need government to come to have a more like a strategic plan to get these guys to set targets for the SMEs on how they can transit over time to adopt the bulk of. Yeah, when you talk of even teacher, it's not far-fetched or so difficult to attain. Like you see, when you have small businesses, why do you digitalize? You digitalize also to have wider reach.
True.
Yeah, and you have customers who will understand you more because you use it for as a platform of communication. You can use it now. One thing that have really revealed itself is that the idea of teleworking and teleconferencing. You see that people can meet now
virtually.
Virtually. Well, before people travel a lot
for a meeting and all that.
But now they see that they can. COVID-19 will be more like an epiphany for businesses. They come to the realization that if I don't have this, what if this happens for the second time? People use it as an opportunity to close the gap. Because a lot of people will realize that they were left behind.
Okay, so in the light of all this, a lot of people are watching you and are thinking, any word of advice for that struggling young man or woman, just being a businessman yourself? And before you even go there, there's something that happens in the Nigerian market. Why do prices go up where all of a sudden there's COVID-19 and the prices go up? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, you see, market should be regulated. If you don't regulate markets, there will be difficulties there will be pranks. People will want to exploit the situation, what is going on. So you find that there are middlemen who make a lot of money, or the people we call off-takers who go to take these things from farmers. They come to sell, they exploit the markets because they know that there will be rush for, when the demand is high. When the demand is high, you see the supply, people will tamper with supply. When the supply is high, the price will come down, that kind of thing. So it's a process of demand in the market, demand and supply. So people exploit all these things. For COVID-19, they know there was a panic, there's going to be a lockdown, so their access to these things, people want to stock. But you see, that stopped a little when government relaxed the lockdown and say people can also buy food. And you see that people knew, these things, we can still buy them with the lockdown.
There's a
window to buy.
To still buy.
So that managed that aspect of that too.
Thank you so much. So much to talk about as far as the economy is concerned. A lot of economies are bleeding all over the world, and we are hoping that we can quickly stop the bleeding and begin to heal as a nation. We are ending our interview with you here now. We want you to be around because we're going to cut our salad cake. Yes, we need you to be here while we cut our salad cake. It's going to be a very yummy one. So stay with us. We'll go to ETV and they're taking a look at multitasking. People are becoming proactive. You must come into this game with your totally A game. Let's see what this has for us.
It is said that when life throws a lemon at you, you make a lemonade out of it. This phrase is presently applying to a lot of professionals who have been at home for some time due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people now work from home as it is uncertain if life will be the same again. Moturayo Lagun is a fashion designer and has challenged herself to do more than just make clothes.
My laptop is right here. So there's one thing on my agenda which is very recurrent, and that is studying. I've been doing a lot of studying. I bought a subscription. Online, and the subscription is like an academy that has about 70 courses. So I'm looking at the software that I've always wanted to improve my skills on, and photography. It's got Excel that I really wanted to get better at, or just know a few more tricks. Digital marketing. I've bought this subscription for 1 year, so I'm spending a lot of time educating and improving myself.
I am a TV presenter, but I also decided to start my YouTube channel during this lockdown period. I've wanted to do it for the longest time, but this period just seemed like the perfect time to start. And I believe that I'm not the only one. I've seen a lot of people who are starting YouTube channels, vlogs, writing articles, just putting themselves out there, YouTube content, Instagram content, video content. I mean, it's amazing to see what people can do. It's amazing to see the kind of talents that have been hidden all this while.
For some others, it is about learning how to expand their target market online as they have more global reach.
During this COVID-19, we have actually come up with strategies on how we can reach people more than when we actually in the store. I've come up with a YouTube channel where I teach about skin, and for those that want to know more, they get back to me in my inbox, and then I can recommend and sell products for them. And well, this teaching is not just limited to just Nigeria, because it helps me reach people on a global scale. We go out, all the way to Canada, to the US, and currently we are in East Africa, concentrating on East Africa and actually selling these products online.
With uncertainty dwelling around, it is best to keep learning and growing because your next job or promotional interview might just be online or require lots of techie brain work.
I always tell myself there is so much that I don't know. Always come from a point of not knowing. Yeah, so that way you continue to realize every day that, knowledge is power, and you can spend this time acquiring knowledge. Of course, you can argue that you don't have money to buy data. Well, then borrow books. Read all the books that you can find. Borrow books from friends. Make sure you return them.
I'm really glad for this opportunity because it has just given me the time to start and put myself out there and push further. And even when this is over, I know that I'm not going to stop. So yeah, to an extent, I am grateful for this whole lockdown season.
Welcome back. This is our salad cake. And we are excited. Our two special guests are back in the house to help us cut this cake. This cake was put together by a wonderful baker. Her name is Hadiza Yaman Abubakar, Road A3, House 56. Pentville Estate, Lukogoba, Abuja. Thank you, Hadiza, for this beautiful, gorgeous cake. We are going to be cutting it. I still have Dr. Abdulkadri. Her name is Hadiza Abdulkadri. Okay, I'm sorry for the mistake, and thank you for your beautiful cake. I'm still here with Dr. Agogo. He obliged us and stayed. Thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Ejize, thank you so much for staying. So we're going to be cutting this cake on behalf of all Muslim faithfuls. Because of social distancing, we'll not be coming together, but we are going to say back at the salah together. So on the count of 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Back at the salah. God bless Nigeria. Thank you. Have a wonderful celebration.
I walked a long way. I walked straight on a road of roses. I passed through the roses. I talked with the roses. How nice you smell. I wish I could stay with you forever. Ramadan is like a rare flower that blossoms once a year. And just as you begin to smell its fragrance, it disappears for another year. Ramadan is a time to empty your stomach and feed your soul. It is a time to develop good habits and do away with the bad ones. Live life like Ramadan is every day, and the hereafter will be your Eid. Eid Mubarak, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, she's such a beautiful young baker. Oh, beautiful young baker, and I'm sure I can't wait to bite this cake. So I'm sure you can't wait to enjoy this cake. But we continue to stay safe. God bless Nigeria. Let's remain kind to one another. Goodbye and God bless.